Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back for your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet here from John E. Deaton. And we do see I haven't budged regarding my prediction that the documents will make even a Ripple hater say, why did Hinman insist on giving the speech then? Which will highlight influences, motives, and conflicts of interest. Now, before I continue on here, I do want to ask everyone, do you honestly think that today is going to be a very large day for crypto and Ripple and the XRP community? I think that a lot of people are getting overly bullish so far on this date, and we usually know what happens, when that does happen. I like to lean against the herd. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen today. Could very well be a large day. All eyes are on the Hinman documents, though. To me, I don't really care about an SEC and Ripple case, win, loss, draw, whatever. I don't care about that right now. What I care about is these Hinman documents. I think that the public is going to be surprised when we do get them. We just see over here from Jungle Inc. He's actually talking about Brad Garlinghouse. He's adding him and he's saying at Brad Garlinghouse, any thoughts ahead of the Hinman documents release? We are all appreciative of Ripple fighting for this important public disclosure. We have Brad Garlinghouse responding saying, wish I could go in depth now, but we've waited this long, 18 plus months. I don't want to overstep. Suffice it to say, Stuart Alderati and I believe they were well worth the wait. And yes, I do believe that they were worth the wait. I also think that the Hinman documents can put things into motion around the SEC, finally having to, answer for their actions. Because for the longest time, we have seen Congress and we've seen all these major players say, the SEC is doing a bad job. And, we're here sitting back saying, like, what's going to happen? Are there going to be actions taken, or is it just going to be, wards, right? Because, you could say things all day long, but in order to actually do those things, yeah, it's two completely different things. So to me, are the Hinman documents the wheels that are gonna, be put on the vehicle to finally get it to move, or what's gonna happen from here on out? I do think that the Hinman documents could definitely be something shocking for the general public. We know that Brad Garlinghouse said that they would most likely shock people. We have no idea when they are going to be released. Hopefully tomorrow, today, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I think it's going to be worth the wait. And I think that the Hinman documents are extremely harmful for the SEC's, attack on this entire industry. And I think that this could very well be a big deal for the XRP army, as well as the Ripple versus SEC case. Now, also, talking about those Hinman documents, let's take a look at Gary Gensler. Here's another 2018 video of Gary Gensler talking about his views on the classification of certain tokens. Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Why did I name those for? They're not securities. Did Ethereum's 2022 change of consensus mechanism change it to a security in his eyes? But also the big question is he's always saying like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and all these other tokens are essentially securities. So what really changed? And here we have Chair Gensler in 2018 at a Bloomberg conference in New York City. Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Why did I name those for? They're not securities. What's Goldman Gary going to say about this one? Deepfake ? And listen closely to this.
Over 70% of the crypto market is Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Why did I name those for? They're not securities.
So what happened? I mean, I personally would love to know. And we do see at Patrick McHenry. This should help Chair Gensler remember how to answer your question from last month, Mr. Chairman. And also over here, check this one out. In the video here, the SEC Gov chairman, Gary Gensler, was promoting algo in one of his global economics and management classes at MIT on April 2019. If you bought Algorand during the time he promoted it, then you'd currently be down 90%. According to the SEC filings in the link below, the SEC charged Kim Kardashian $250,000 for the promotion of an unregistered security, EMAX. In the SEC filing below, the SEC Gov is charging Binance US and CZ Binance for selling unregistered securities, Algorand being one of them. My question is, Can we now legally sue the SEC Gov chairman Gary Gensler for promoting an unregistered security? I also see that the SEC likes to dig up 5-year-old chat logs and trying to make it stick. Given the incriminating evidence below, along with a lot of the other videos of Gary Gensler repeatedly promoting Algorand legally, we should be able to sue the chairman of the US SEC for promoting an unregistered security. Given that Gary is a public figure, I cannot see a reason why this should not stick. I don't want to hear anything about Gary not being a public figure, as the SEC Gov started charging Twitter accounts for meme stock promotions as well. You could view the filings here. These are the laws in the US, and nobody should be above them unless, of course, there's a double standard somewhere. Warren Davidson, your take on this. If this is a legal case, then I encourage everyone who purchased Algorand April 2019 and up to sue the chairman of the US SEC. And check this out.
So governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT that I work with. Sylvia's got a great technology that has the performance. You could create Uber on top of it. The question is then, who would update the software?
And of course, with Algorand, there's many videos like this with Gary Gensler talking about Algorand and many other tokens as well. It's kind of comical, right? There is a double standard here. The big question is, why are they constantly targeting crypto? Well, we'll talk about that here in a second. First, I want to talk about what Warren Davidson did today. So it's time for real reform and to fire Gary Gensler as chair of the SEC. Check this out. House Republicans introduced a bill to remove the SEC chair Gary Gensler, restructure agency as well. The bill would add a 6th commissioner and prevent any political party from having more than 3 seats on the body. I think that this is big. And here we have the SEC Stabilization Act. Now, of course, this does have to get passed. Remember that. And this is it explained. So fires Chair Gary Gensler. All rulemaking, enforcement, and investigations conducted by 6 commissioners. Creates ED rule for day-to-day operations. Thank you, GOP Majority Whip, for helping lead this legislation. And check this out. Here you guys have the old structure. This is essentially the new structure of this act. Very big. I actually support this 100%. I think that this is great. It allows for a decentralized entity, if you will. Very, very happy about this. If it does get passed. The big question is if it does get passed. Over here as well, news. Today I filed the SEC Stabilization Act to restructure the SEC and fire Gary Gensler, which did allow it for, it to trend, which is trending right now. U.S. capital markets must be protected from tyrannical chairmen, including the current one. It's time for real reform and to fire Gary Gensler as chair of the SEC statement. Here's the statement. So this is the full-on statement that I just read. Down here, we do see Tom Emmer joined me in this critical fight to protect our markets. American investors and industry deserve clear and consistent oversight, not political gamesmanship. The SEC Stabilization Act will make common sense. I had to click it real quick. Make common sense changes to ensure that the SEC's priorities are with the investors they are charged to protect and not the whims of the reckless chair. And yeah, I think that this is great. Honestly, this is the best thing that we could have. But the big question is, and even digital asset investor question it as well, like this is great, Warren Davidson and GOP Majority Whip. But if this can't pass, will you guys commit to defunding the SEC, which you can do without the Democrats? We are past symbolic gestures at this point. Time to be as ruthless as the bad guys, or this is just more political talk. And yes, this is exactly what I've been talking about. Talk is cheap. Actions speak way louder than words. We need to see actions taken here. We can't be sitting back waiting for Congress to do something while they're telling you, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And yes, I get it, right? Like these bills are great, or I should say these acts are great, but they have to be passed. And if they don't, the big question is what happens next, right? Is this going to go and get swept under the bridge? Like what's going to happen? And at this current moment in time, if we really take a step back and see the events that have been happening in the last couple months, it seems like there's a lot of pressure on the SEC, which I personally love to see. But the big question is, will it even matter? I think that the Hinman documents are definitely something that could put a staple in all of this. I think that the Hinman documents could get, things moving a lot quicker. I also think that this is something to watch for. I think that this is something very large. I know a lot of people have been saying like the Hinman documents are nothing to, worry about. It's like a big nothing burger, if you will. The thing is that, these Hinman documents, we've been waiting for them, for 18 plus months. It's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. We are waiting for these to finally be released, and I think that when they are released, I think that the narrative around this entire space, especially around the SEC, is going to change quickly, and it's for good measure. And what's crazy about this all is that you can kind of see the reason why they are going after crypto so hard. XRP underscore Digigold actually posted this over on Twitter earlier yesterday, or 2 days ago actually now. And we do see Americans pull $472 billion out of the US banks in 3 months as depositors exit in historic numbers. And this is the big deal, right? They are trying to protect the banks. They know where this money's going. They can see where this money's going. It's either going into stocks, it's either going into crypto, or money market funds, right? Which we've talked about money market funds. There's about like $5-6 trillion in money market funds. There's a lot of money in those. But money is exiting the banking sector in a very, very fast way. And they're trying to slow it down. They're trying to stop things happening within crypto as well, because there's a lot of money that's going to flow into crypto over the next couple months. I strongly believe that. I've said it many times. In fact, I think that 2023 is going to be very bullish for crypto. So far, it has. And as we do really kind of look at what's happening around crypto right now with this regulatory battle, I think that what happens next is going to be something very, very interesting. I also think that this case is historical. I've mentioned it many times. I know that I kind of sound like a broken record, but this case is something very, very interesting, right? And it's something that's going to be in history books around crypto, because the digital economy is rising. We are seeing the digital age of finance, being created before our eyes, and it's not going to, just go away. This is going to be around forever. Whether or not these regulators want to try stopping it and slowing it down, that's totally fine. They could do that. But guess what? It's still going to be here 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now. And I do think that this is what the digital rails of tomorrow will be built upon within our financial sector. So if we look at that, it leads me to my next subject, which is, of course, Operation Choke Point 2.0, which I just talked about recently, actually, in a video. We do see the effects of Operation Choke Point 2.0. Decentralized exchange volumes relative to centralized exchange volumes are at an all-time high. Tether at an all-time high, and USDC down 50%. Offshore volumes near all-time high at 86%. In the end, capital and activity will just move offshore and on-chain, ultimately giving the US government less oversight. And yeah, this is what's happening. I know, again, this kind of sounds like a broken record, but it is something to watch for, because if we see the US fall severely behind, as they already have, what are they going to do? What are they going to rely on? Are they going to rely on the traditional banking world? Are they going to rely on a US CBDC? What's going to happen from here on out? Are they trying to give all the power to Wall Street? In my opinion, I do believe that is the case. But I do think that's going to backfire. I think that the SEC's cases that they've brought up so far, even the Ripple case, right, has so far backfired on them. And it's only going to continue from here on out, in my opinion. And of course, Tim Draper, which I'm sure that you already got, I'm sure everyone knows who Tim Draper is. He basically went after Gary Gensler years back. There was a whole video on it. It was a very large video. It went viral around the crypto space. Tim Draper is definitely one to watch for within the space. I do think that he's fighting for innovation within crypto as well. And we do see new VC investor Tim Draper to Fox Business. Weak regulators spread fear and strong regulators spread opportunity. The Howey test was nearly 80 years ago and has no relevance to crypto. I think crypto needs to be regulated in a new way from a new group. I think our regulators are acting way out of line, and it's time to rein them in. Gensler is damaging our country. And yes, he is. And, it's kind of comical. Like, a lot of people think that crypto's not that big, that it doesn't really matter if crypto goes offshore, but crypto is, it's the future, right? Like, that's why we are seeing this regulatory battle. That's why we are seeing this war breaking out around crypto, especially within the US. And, it's going to be here forever. Like I said, this is the future. I've talked about it many times on this channel. Web3, the fourth industrial revolution, the evolution of finance itself. All of this is happening in real time, and it really is becoming a big deal. So to me personally, I think that this is something special to watch for. I think that, today, could it be a big day? Who knows, right? I'm going to sit back, wait and see what happens. But I do think that these Hinman documents are something crucial around this case. I think that they're going to be very big, and I think everyone should be watching for, what happens today. If anything, again, don't get too excited. Don't get, too, bullish on one specific date. We already know how a lot of these dates, really kind of align with the markets. So to me personally, I don't get bullish on dates anymore until we actually see substance. So wait for substance to get excited. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. This is up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.